So thanks everybody for coming. Thanks especially for the organization. It's an honor for me to be among such talented people. Yes, I'm Oscar. I'm going to present you a tool for doing free immersive data visualization. I will tell you what's that. My background is, she already told, I'm a telecom engineer, but then I started to work in big data, then in data visualization, then 2014 came. I started to think about how will data visualization translate into virtual reality, and that's my main focus right now. I founded Outliers Collective in 2012. These are the kind of things we do. Lots of maps. This is a tool we made for the Johns Hopkins University about all the data sets available for the Atlantic zone. This was a real time we have been showing in exhibitions. This is an exhibition about into virtual reality, mixing 360 content with data visualization about police institutional violence in the 1st of October last year. You know about the Catalonian referendum, things like that, which you can agree or not, but there was lots of violence there. And I'm going to show you what I think best exemplifies what we do. Oops, sorry for that. Yeah, it's a little tricky. So this is a work we did around Occupy Getty. I'm sure you know about the story. This is an old work. It was around 2013. A little bit about the story. The local government was about to deploy some urbanistic development in an area, and they had to cut down some trees for that. So people started protesting. Then the police have some violent reactions. So you know what happened. So yeah, it's like the sign of our times. Institutional violence, and then the citizens organize via social networking and try to solve that. So basically what you are seeing here are the most viral images on that event and how they propagated on Twitter in terms of who retweeted what and the path our images followed. So we have 6 images here. I really like the visualization pattern here. You see that someone tweet the image, then lots of people retweet that image. Then someone over there also tweet the image. Lots of people retweet that image, and you see how everything spreads. And this is like the work we really do, which has 3 parts. We normally join with journalists. And the first part, and to us, the most important one is the story. So there's a story underneath. We do some math, and then we produce some data visualization with that math to make a bridge between the 2 things, between the story and between data or math or whatever you choose to call that. Okay, so yeah, that's it. That's like the most representative example of what we normally do. Sorry for that. It's, yeah, I don't see the cursor. Sorry. Okay, thank you. Okay, so on to the tool I'm going to present you. It's an open source tool to generate immersive stories from data. Since that's a really big mouthful, I'm going to try to explain that. First of all, it was founded by Journalism 360. I really recommend if you are into immersive journalism or mixing journalism and virtual reality to apply. It's a they're really good people, and it's not very difficult because not many people are going that route with journalism. Second thing is that it's open source, which means it's free. You can access the project on GitHub. You can modify it, and there are no licensing problems, okay? The third thing is that it's a web VR tool. In case you don't know, web VR is a technology for producing VR content without, it's completely on the web, the production, so it's playing JavaScript and traditional web technologies to make virtual reality. You do not produce different products for different headsets. It's just one product for the web, and it works on every headset. Also, it's in the open, so you can play with that, with data. And yeah, that's it. So it's a tool to implement immersive narratives, which I define by combining 360 media and traditional media with data visualizations, okay? It's based on, it's inspired on Timeline.js, maybe you know that. It's a tool from the Knight Foundation to make really compelling timelines that you can embed on your page, but the data that produces that timeline is on a Google spreadsheet. So it's the same mechanic. You don't have to code. You only have to fill, let's say that it's a complex spreadsheet, but you don't have to code. And the best thing, I think, is to just show the tool. Okay. So first of all, you can show different data visualizations. So map, this is a world map you can make with the tool. This is a local map you can make. Here you can make Neurath isotypes. I'm sure you have seen this a lot, like representing numbers with little figures for having a sense of proportion mainly. Of course, you can produce 360 photo visualizations. You can make a photo grid here. You can make a timeline. You can make a tree map. And you can make 360 videos. You can show them on the web, okay? How do you use this? I think it's best to show an example here. This is an example I made about the influence of David Bowie, just an example. And here you have all the information you need to produce the web VR experience. In a minute, I'll go into some detail about that, but let's see how does this work. You just share your spreadsheet, copy the URL, go here, paste this here, and it produces an URL that if you put on a new tab on the browser, no problem. I can just go here. This is completely produced from the Google spreadsheet. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to stop the audio. It's the same. First of all, you see you have a 360 background. Okay, there's some art with it in the 360 background, like taking a 360 photo and then going through Photoshop and insert there some art. Then you have the data visualization, which is this thing. Of course, if you're in a room scale headset, you can move around, okay? And you have a menu here where you can go to the first, to home, the first scene, or you can go back, okay? Okay, so let's, for example, this one is about, this one is about the life of the baby.
Are we big enough or mature enough
so
to exist like that? Are we mature enough to...
Again, I have a 360 background with some art in there. I have a timeline here represented as a 360 line, okay? And if you click here, then some media will deploy here, which in this case is a 2D video.
Can we do that? Because if we could do that,
This is just one example. It could jump to a 360 video, so you can combine data visualization with 360 media. Okay, so I'm going back to the first screen, which is like the main one. I'm going to stop this. That way you... let's see, for example, a map here, which is another kind of data visualization. I can go there. By the way, you are seeing this on flat media on desktop, but I have brought a headset if you want to try it inside, because it's a complete different thing on the inside, okay? And I have like 3 demos with 3 different productions made with this. So this is another example. This is a map visualization. So you can have a map. You can input the center of the map in the Google spreadsheet. Then you can list some points and what happens when you click at some points. For example, let's say you click here. If you are into virtual reality, you can walk around the map, okay? So here it's an example. It's a place. This is taken from Google Maps, okay? From Google Street View, which you can do with a tool which is called PanoFetch. You can visit Google Street View, and it installs a plugin on your Chrome browser, and you click, and then you can download the file. So here you can make stories, because you can label the space you're creating, and you can have, for example, this story is about what graffitis were there. There was a Banksy years ago, and it tells all the story about Banksy and the graffiti, and there was one about David Bowie. So you can have 360 media and tag with labels in the space some information. Okay, on to just a quick tour on, for example, how do you configure everything? You have a tab which is called scenes, which you have the different scenes in this example we have 9 scenes. So you say the type of visualization you want to see, then you say the tab of this Google spreadsheet where the configuration for that visualization is, okay? So everything has a number, and I'm going to just show the data for the map, which I think is easy. This is the configuration, oh, sorry. This is the configuration for the map. Hope now, okay. So I put in that scene a title, then some explanation. I have more information here, but I cannot show, I don't know why. But you say the center of the map and the zoom level, and then you say there that the data for the map is in this tab, and you can see it's really easy. You put some latitude, longitude, you put the color of the pins, you put a headline, a text, could be that you can put a thumbnail also, and you say to which scene that links. So you can define lots of scenes with data, and clicking on data, you can jump between scenes. So you can make what they call branching narratives, okay? And I think that's it about the tool. Some words about what's next. Some insights, I think this is more important. First of all, one thing we have realized working with clients and implementing this is that you don't necessarily need 360 content to make 360 media. Okay, you can make a timeline with two-dimensional videos, and that's it. And that creates a sense of space, and that lowers the cost of development, and somehow you can produce 360 content without being obsessed with 360 media. Second insight is that a line becomes a circle in VR. So for example, the traditional timeline is a line in a flat screen, but when you go into VR, that line can surround you, and then it becomes a circle. Third insight is that the same with a plane becomes a sphere. So if you want to make data visualization into VR, and it fits into a plane, you can make a sphere that surrounds you, and that way, if you do some math, I think you have 4 plus P more surface, but that's a little geeky. Next insight is that immersion benefits time on experience. I've made productions for the Barcelona City Council about Barcelona things, and that you can see on the headset I brought. And normally in VR, we think that people are going to spend 1 to 2 minutes, something like that, but we managed to make an average of the mean visitor time into VR with this framework. And normally people stayed between 5 and 10 minutes without going sick and nothing like that, with peak experiences of around 25 minutes. There were people that visited everything. And I think the trick is not only using 360 media or 360 videos, but making narratives around that little pieces of content. So using several 360 videos with embedded into a timeline, into a map, or something like that, that can make your story have an upper level narrative, okay? The last one, this is really important, is that you know the memory palace theory is that it's a psychological and neurological theory that says that there's a region in our cerebellum in which we represent knowledge, but also spatial information. So somehow spatial information and knowledge are linked, and we have measured how much information you absorb in 3D environments versus flat environments. And you not only absorb more because you are moving, but also you recall better what you just have seen. And I think that's it. Thanks a lot.